Hit. Hit.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, I'm going to go over my latest build, which is this 12.5 Centurion. Anybody that's watching any of my other videos, or even those who haven't, I definitely don't have an issue building Frankenstein guns, various parts on various manufacturers, because you get exactly what you want. This one I can say is pretty soundly a Centurion build, because all of the main components and the majority of these parts are Centurion arms parts. Just to give you a little bit of background on how this build came to be and why, it is a gun and a build for my wife. The gun that she currently has, or had, was a 14.5-inch ballistic advantage complete upper, and it was paired to a Palmetto State Armory lower that I had built up a little bit. She doesn't get to shoot with me a lot, maybe 3 to 5 times a year. But she definitely likes having her own AR. And while the other gun would suit her fine, it just wasn't good enough for me. So Centurion, they sent me an email, and they were having a great deal on some of their barrels. It was like 30% off. Centurion, some of their barrels are regarded to be some of the best. So noticed on there that they had the 12.5 lightweight carbine barrels on sale. And I want to say it was like 130, maybe 140. So I had to jump all over it. And I figured that I would buy the 12.5 and I would eventually just pick up the pieces here and there. But I am a very impatient person, and it just ended up buying everything for it. So from my wife's old build, I did go ahead and take some of the parts off of it. I took the LaRue MBT2 trigger out of it. I took the HoloSun 515 GM on the Scalar Works mount off of it. And then originally she had an Aimpoint 3X mag, which is pretty old by now and is definitely the more durable than the one that I ended up getting, which is the 3XC. I just thought that the 3XC was a bit more updated, and you can only submerge this to 2 feet, which I don't remember what the 3X mag was, but it was a lot more. But my wife's not exactly going to be jumping in and out of water with her gun, so really the looks of it is really what I wanted to go with. And then of course I got the GG&G flip side mount, which I really like a lot. So 12.5 to me is really a great and the perfect barrel length. It is the do most type barrel length. Short enough for close-in work, but still you're able to maintain enough velocity to make it really effective and have some decent range to it. So I knew that 12.5 was the route that I wanted to go for a gun for the wife. And as I started going around the website, Centurion's website, and started looking at some of the other things. And again, I don't mind Frankenstein guns, but I really wanted to kind of make like a really Centurion build. So besides the barrel itself, I ended up picking up one of their CMR, I believe it is, M-LOK rails. This one's an 11.5. Lower receiver, or I should say upper receiver. You can see here it's their forged. It's got their bullet spearhead roll mark. And then I ended up also getting one of their CM4 lowers. This is one of their old ones, one of their Morgantown receivers, which is before they moved to Burgersville. So at the time they didn't have the newer ones available online, which is fine, same roll mark, and they were offering these ones at a pretty good discount, so you couldn't pass that one up. When it comes to the buffer tube, we have got here the Centurion. You see the roll mark, but this is a 9-position carbine receiver extension. So went with that, and then I got the lower parts kit. So lower parts kit comes with the castle nut, your standard end plate here. Does come with a safety, but it's only a right-hand safety, so I went ahead and took the LMT ambi safety out because I will be shooting this a little bit. Of course, it has your receiver pins, your bolt catch release, and then for a safety, it does come with the safety and the button, which I did install the button and the spring that came with it. But again, being that I am a lefty, I went ahead and put a Arms Unlimited ambi safety in here, which I had laying around. These are the ones I used to use before the Forward Controls design. It is a very similar, pretty much a ripoff of the Norgan that had been around forever. So upper receiver was a complete upper that I bought, or I say complete. It was an assembled upper that already had the dust cover and the forward assistant. So again, that is all Centurion. And I just want to go back to the barrel for a second. So like I mentioned, this is a 12.5 lightweight barrel, but similar to other manufacturers, and one that really comes to mind is the Noveski N4 light barrel. I have one of those in my 16, even though it's designated as light. Don't think of like pencil barrel profile. I feel like this is the same when it comes to the Centurion, and definitely not a pencil profile. It's got a little bit of weight to it. It's I don't remember the weight off the top of my head, but it is very close, like decimal points close to a 12.5 Criterion core. So one of the other cool things about it is that you could choose the option to get the pinned gas block. Pinning, is definitely a bomb-proof method, even though retaining pins work okay, or retaining screws. The pins are always great. So got that included with it. Gas tube, that's all Centurion. Outside of that, so I also, she couldn't run a suppressor or one of my suppressors on her gun, because the old gun was a 14.5-inch pin and weld, which was using a Yankee Hill Machine Phantom. So couldn't use any of my Huxworks cans. Between the three of them that I got here, between the HX QD556, the Flow 762 Ti, and then the 556K, I was pretty sure that going into this, I was going to go ahead and I was going to zero this and let her use the Flow 762 Ti on this one, because it is a very light can, or at least it's the lightest of the three that I have. Trying to keep this as light as possible. My wife is a very small woman. She's 5'3". I know she has trouble holding up a couple of my other guns. I actually kind of have concerns with this, because it was 8 pounds before adding the light and the optics, but we'll find out tomorrow. So got the Huxworks flash hider on here. For weapon light, went with the Streamlight HLX, which this is the updated version. It has 50,000 candela, 1,000 lumens, so they get you really close to the mod light. PLH V2. And I also like that it already comes with an M-LOK mount for it. I do have it mounted on the side, for to do thumb activation, but I don't know if she's going to be able to reach that. You can see the way where it sits with the flash hider, or in relation to the flash hider, it's right there at the end of the tine. So while I want to leave this here, if she wants to move the handle back, or if her grip is a little bit further back and I need to move this, the vertical grip back, I will, and then I'll mount the pressure switch. Already got a Cloud Defensive LCS for the Streamlight pressure switch, if I do need to come back further where she can't reliably or comfortably reach the clicky tail cap. So do also on the vertical foregrip real quick. My video I did on my 11.5, at the time it was a pistol, and people kept hitting me up and saying, hey, you got a vertical foregrip, that's illegal, that's an AOW. So it's not, it is a pistol, but it's also considered a firearm in the eyes of the ATF. As long as your gun is greater than 26 inches overall, and that 26 inches would go from a bare muzzle to the end of the receiver extension, with exceptions of those being if I had a folding device on here, you have to measure to the hinge. Or if this was pin and welded, you could, and you could measure all the way to the end. But neither one of those cases. So when you're looking for a greater than 26-inch overall length, with an AR, a 11.5-inch barrel will get you there. Just barely gets you there, but it gets you there. So definitely with a 12.5, now that it's considered a firearm, I am allowed to run a vertical foregrip while it is considered like a pistol. So there's that. I did go ahead and get the Centurion Sandcutter bolt carrier group. I already had one of their new chrome tapered bolts. I don't remember the exact name they call for it, but just kind of put those two together. Added the Magpul K2 grip. I am really a big fan of this grip, along with the B5 Systems P22 or Type 22. And then as far as choosing a pistol brace, my wife, I figured she is not going to be really apt to go through the trouble of doing a Form 1, the short barrel rifle it, go do her fingerprints, pay the $200, pay extra money to go have the etchings on it. So probably going to leave it in the pistol configuration. Also because she does travel out of state when she goes to visit her mom and dad. So if you want to bring this, you don't have to worry about 5320-20s to go fill out. So she will probably end up keeping it in this configuration. Now, my wife, she's a big fan of pink, so I figured to go ahead and get some of these Centurion M-LOK handguard covers. She already has a pink magazine that she has going through for it. or going to it. So, you know, a little bit of pink without too much pink on there. And then, you know, for iron sights, I went ahead and put the Knights Armaments on here between the rear and then the front. And then for a charging handle, I went with a Voltar charging handle. It's not ambi, but again, this is mainly her gun, so really wasn't worried about needing an ambidextrous charging handle. I do want to mention that putting this gun together from pieces, which I'll go ahead and drop a picture in here. Building it from pieces, this is probably the most smoothest assembling ARs that I put together yet. Obviously, I don't know if it helps that you buy all from the same company, but everything from installing the roll pins to the bolt catch, which, you know, that's not a huge deal, but the pin for the gas block, just everything fitting together was very, very super smooth. Went together a lot better than any of my other ARs I've put together. Really, really like this setup a lot. It's very handy. Took it to the range today to do some function testings, and while I wasn't expecting any issues, you never know, right? So took it out. Only issues that I have, I feel, were mag related, and those were with the new PMag T-Mags, where it wouldn't feed the next round in there. It wasn't even like it would jam up in there. It just wouldn't even pick it up from the magazine. So all the other magazines I tried didn't have an issue, so I am pretty sure that that is a mag related issue only. So while at the range today and testing it out, it ran great. Very, very soft shooting gun. I think anytime that you have a softer shooting gun or harder recoiling gun, it has to do with the gas system. What did they drill the gas port open to? So Centurion Arms did a very good job with choosing their gas port size, which I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but shot great, unsuppressed. And then the Huxworks cans, you know, these don't create much back pressure, so you don't see a change in ejection pattern anyway, but very soft shooting and giving me ejection at about 3:30, 4 o'clock using PMC X-Tech M193. Oh, and one thing I forgot, when it comes to the buffer and spring, so standard carbine spring and then an H2 buffer. All right, so here you see I have my Huxworks Flow 762 Ti mounted, 12-inch barrel with an 11.5-inch handguard. You see the gap that remains there. It would be kind of cool if they offered an 11.75, but that gap there has never really bothered me, but I do appreciate it on some of my other guns where the gap is like almost non-existent, such as my Mark 18. But this is the build overall. Very happy with the way that came out. It was a really fun build. Being Centurion pretty much through to the core. Very accurate gun. You'll see I'll throw some pictures in here from the zeroing process. I was a little bit low, but it created a very nice small group with one flyer. So the accuracy is definitely there. Really fun gun to put together. Centurion definitely makes just quality stuff. Really, really like them a lot. If you're looking or you're interested in building a gun, take a hard look at Centurion. I know their barrels and their handguards are really looked at, and their new sand cutter bolt carrier group is considered to be one of the best. But make great parts all around. Really fun gun. My wife is super happy with it. So that's it for this video. If you liked it, please hit the like button. I'd also really appreciate it if you subscribed and then ultimately shared the video as well. Recently crossed over the 3,000 subscriber threshold. Really appreciate all of the feedback and all of the views that I've gotten from all of you. So see you in the next one. Thank you.